Today we're going to look at what I think is a central vice in the modern world. It's my biggest character flaw personally, and it's generally not what people think. So today's topic is arrogance. So ever since I was a kid, people said I was cocky, I was arrogant. I never understood what they mean. I thought, I'm just confident. What's the problem? Because you see, when you are arrogant, you just think you're confident. And there's various reasons for this. Some of them are specific to me and my family. You know, I had parents who said, you can be what you're, you can be anything, you're brilliant. You know, I was the golden child, you know. A lot of it, though, is just society at large, which breeds a kind of arrogance, borderline narcissism, actually, for many people in the world today. There's some specific factors that lead to that may not be totally obvious, that as I've sort of come to terms with this as a character flaw in myself, I've kind of come to see more in the world. Now, the reason arrogance is important, there's a few reasons. So the first one is just from a learning point of view. Arrogance gets in the way of learning. So I teach online, teach courses, I've done that for many, many years. It's really important that students have at least a little bit of openness, beginner's mind, not a cup full, you know, the Zen saying you can't empty your cup. If students are arrogant, they know everything already, I can't teach them anything, right? So from a learning point of view, it's absolutely vital. And what is life if not learning? This is the same in any job, any profession. Let's say you want to learn fighting, right? If what's arrogance got? It's good to be cocky, right? It's like, well, imagine going to, so you see your coach, I don't know, George St. Pierre or someone says they're going to coach you. And you go, I know about fighting already. Like a lot of blokes, I can fight, I'm brilliant at fighting. Most blokes think they're great at driving, fighting and marketing for some reason. And, you know, as a sort of gender, I think it's as a character flaw as well for many men. If I'm in that, I know it all, I can't be taught. Okay, I can't be taught. And it's not just in specific skills, like learning to fight. In my case, learning to drive. It took like 4 driving tests to pass my driving test because I just had this attitude of, yeah, I know how to do this. I didn't. It was crap. I did crap about the test. So a lack of humility, arrogance gets in the way of learning, and everything in life's about learning. This is the key thing. The big picture here is that we live in a time that says you're what's important. Okay, so consumer culture blows smoke up our arse. Consumer culture says, you are the boss of you, you are the great one. It's the iPhone, the ego phone, the individual phone, rugged American individualism, which has been expanded into this kind of consumer way of looking at things, which breaks down community, breaks down our connection to divinity. I'm going to come back to that later. Okay, it makes us say, you're the most important thing in the world, right? This is for sales purposes. This is really toxic. Psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, in a number of levels, but is encouraged by the culture that we live in today. So learning can't happen because of this individualized arrogance at kind of a deep level. Now, there's a reason that Jesus said, blessed are the meek, equally in Buddhism, Hinduism, other religions. It's extremely beneficial for people to be humble. Now, the cynical interpretation of that is it's all about sort of Marxist interpretation. It's all about social control. You're just trying to keep people down. Religion's the opiate of the masses, control the peasants. Maybe there's a bit of truth in that, certainly sometimes in places. But the key thing is spirituality is all about surrender, all about surrender. If you have arrogance, you can't surrender. You're the big I am. Not only is it sort of obnoxious socially, to the learning aspect, the social aspect is people just don't like it. And I've always rubbed people up the wrong way. It's in my embodiment, it's in my demeanor, you know, I've got that I'm slightly better than you. And that people understand also that comes from insecurity, right? So arrogance comes from actually a feeling of being lesser. So people can feel the difference between confidence and arrogance. Often arrogance is sort of puffed up, inflated, a sort of try hard. Girls feel the difference, right? So in sort of dating, if you're arrogant, girls don't like it. It's an entitlement there. And some like pickup guys will teach, you should be entitled. You should feel like you can have any girl. Girls feel that and they go, okay, that's a bit weird. That's a bit try hard. It's just a bit unpleasant for people. Now, here's the thing. Come back to the spiritual thing in a minute, actually, bit of a side road. It will get you so far. Okay, you can blag your way, as they say in England, to a lot of places. Personally, for me, it got me a lot. I was super cocky. I was like, yeah, I'm the best coach in the world. I'm going to do loads of coaching. I'm going to put on big summits. And that inflation, you know, a certain amount of people will go along with it. Deep down, they're probably thinking you're a knobhead. Certainly, it doesn't encourage people to sort of love you. So it can get you a certain degree, but it comes crashing down because sooner or later reality asserts itself. So I managed to blag my way onto like big stages when I was young. I was always super nervous. Why was I super nervous? Why wasn't I as confident as I sort of look to other people, why was I super nervous on the inside, you know, to the point of being sick and stuff, it's because I knew I wasn't as competent as I was pretending to be. So grounded confidence comes from competence and experience. It comes from getting feedback from the community over time, sort of years in the trade. You know, now I'm genuinely confident about a certain select things. And this is the thing, we have to not generalize our competence, right? You might be good at driving, but not good with girls. You might be in vice versa, right? I generalize it. It's kind of what arrogance is. It's not saying, you know, because it's actually putting yourself down. So like, well, I've done 20 years of my particular job. So yeah, I'm likely to be good at that. The feedback is such, I've had the experience. There's a grounded confidence in certain things now. That wasn't the case when I started. Young guys on YouTube, they sort of puff themselves up and they pretend I'm the coach and this and that. And you can kind of feel it, right? You can see it. No one's really convinced. And they will be very nervous underneath that. Often it leads to these sort of psychological swingbacks, right? So I remember once at this big talk in Moscow and I was quite young, wasn't really ready for it. But I blagged my way in there, pretended, you know, when you're foreign as well, you can pretend you're the big I am. And I did the talk. The next day I felt terrible. Big ego, big come down. I phoned my friend who used to be a rock star. I said, "What's going on, Jamie?" And he said, "Yeah, this is what happens, you know, with young bands, you know, big egos, big come down." Or footballers, you know, big success and then big shadow around that, big shadow around that. It will always bite you on the ass. Yeah. And this is the same with any character trait. Every character trait has a shadow. Every character trait has a character flaw, right? It's Aristotle's sort of golden middle, but that's not really how it works, right? It works that you have this thing that gets you success and then that sabotages you. So I don't know, I was cocky with my business and then sooner or later, the market doesn't lie, the customer doesn't lie. It's like, this is why people like these things like fighting and comedy, where there's this hard test of feedback, hard test of reality. Reality will bite back. I did a video on the cost of lies, right? Look up Mark Walsh, cost of lies. The sort of arrogance is a lie to yourself, and the feedback loop will come back to that. Spiritually, just come back to that point, is the lack of surrender, and I think incredibly toxic, like, life will beat you down, yeah? Like your cockiness will not survive you getting cancer or your mum getting cancer or addiction. Like something will hit you and your cockiness would just be destroyed, So many of my issues now, whether it's little health issues I've got from being cocky in the past about something, relationship issues from this, cancellation issues, you know, like I went to this cancellation thing. Wouldn't have had any of it had I not been cocky. Now, no one likes woke culture, the activist types, blah, blah, blah. But I made one cocky comment after I had a big success and people hated it. And I get it. That was my character fault. So I worked for years for this event, made a load of money, had a load of success, was doing the big I am on top of the world, you know, getting laid with all these great girls, blah, 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 thinking I'm awesome. One cocky moment, I posted something I shouldn't on social media, just something dumb, really. And it's haunted me for years. So much lost work, so much heartache, just loads of stress about it. No one likes the sort of public attack. It's really unpleasant. Just from that one moment of cockiness when I was on top of the world. You know, we say in addiction recovery, the most dangerous times for an addict, one is the worst times, but interestingly, the other is the best times when an addict is on top of the world feeling like they're invincible. Because when you feel like you're invincible, you do dumb stuff. So arrogance does come with men, does come with youth. My main audience is young men for this channel. Again, I say this without judgment, and it can get you somewhere, right? It's better to be overconfident than underconfident if you had to pick in terms of the initial success, but in terms of the pushback, the consequences, you'd better be underconfident. Spiritually, better be underconfident, better be a bit meek, a bit humble. There's a reason that people push that. And now we look at what the media promotes, right? If you look at the influencers online, how many of them are humble? Most of them are braggadocious. Yeah, they lack that spiritual quality and they will suffer as a result. I don't wish that on them, but they will. So that is what is pushed, is a sort of arrogance rather than a humility. Also, let's look at other social media. It boosts arrogance because the echo chambers, right? ChatGPT, oh my God, Chat is sycophantic as a mother. Like it just will continuously say, good point, Mark, brilliant point, Mark. It just tells you amazing. I had a friend who was spending hours a day on Chat. And then I challenged him on something and he just couldn't handle it. He just cut me out of his life, left the group we'd been in for 2 years. And I was like, dude, you know, what gives? And I realized, oh, he spends all his day on ChatGPT. It's telling him he's amazing. It's never, ever challenging him. And, that is pretty toxic. On a wider cultural level, modernity is saying we are the center of the universe. Right? We don't need God. We don't need a higher power. We don't really need community, all the things that keep us sane. Therefore, this individualism means we're prone to arrogance. Like, even if you're watching this going, oh, I've got self-esteem issues and I've got low confidence. Like, yeah, maybe, but you might swing between that and arrogance. Given the culture we're in, that might be the case. Some signs you might be a bit arrogant that I've definitely watched out for, that I still have. One is your embodiment, your body language. First time I saw someone like impersonate my embodiment at one of my courses, I was like, oh my God, what a cocky guy. Your language, giving people feedback without permission, saying things with certainty rather than with maybe, or, if, and, not just saying things like this definitely is the case, which some coaches will teach you. There's linguistic things as well. It's like, is your assessment of your competence based on any feedback? I was speaking to someone the other day, they say I'm the top coach in the UK. I'm like, okay, but based on what? Based on what objectively? It's like your clients might like you, but you haven't done a comparison or a study or anything, right? So it's like, are you actually getting feedback? I remember when I went from Aikido, which is a great martial art, but there's no real feedback loop. So it tends to promote arrogant people who think they want it. Aikido can be great, some lovely people in it, some great communities, but it's prone to arrogance because there's no testing other than kind of gradings. There's no competition. There's no actual reality test. Look at Rockus's channel as an old mate on this, on martial arts journey. So it tends to lead to people who are a bit arrogant. And I realized that, and after sort of 10 years, I went to jiu-jitsu, just got choked out, was just humbled. I was just humbled. It's like, what are you doing that's humbling? Okay, is it jiu-jitsu where there's always someone better? Is it business where, is it YouTube? I make what I think's a great video and it gets 50 views or something. It's like, oh God, I can blame the world. Or I go back to the drawing board to see that. If I'm arrogant, it's everyone else's fault. I'm brilliant. Then I'm not learning. I'm not getting any better. Yeah. Okay, so arrogance, way deeper, way more in the culture than people think. People like this, tell me what to do next. I've got lots of vices, lots of character flaws. This is the big one for me personally, and I think our culture, we could do one on greed or rage or a few others. Tell me what you think.